no gold is not enough.
Hello there! Welcome to part 2 of the guide to ranking up from bronze to champion. This video will focus more on your car mechanics. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about in this video is your boost management and flipping when necessary. So you can see here I flip towards the ball and retain as much boost as I can, so that when I hit it up the wall I actually have enough boost to do something with it. If you can flip to get to the ball instead of just boosting, then you should be doing that to save as much boost as you can. Otherwise you're going to end up in a scenario like this where you're completely out of boost and it really limits the amount that you can actually do with the ball. Ideally you want to be doing something more like this, where you flip towards the ball and then when it's under your control and you've got boost, you can actually do something with it. Now you can see I was unsuccessful in the shot attempt here, but if I didn't have that boost I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway. You can see here how much speed you're able to maintain while flipping with minimal boosting. While we're on the topic of boost management, try not to boost when you're already going supersonic. You can see some black animations near my rear wheels here. That shows that I'm going supersonic. When you're going supersonic, you can't go any faster, so using boost while you're already going supersonic is just wasted boost. You can see how little boost I actually have to use in order to maintain supersonic speeds. Next thing I'm going to talk to you about is jumping off walls. So the amount of times I see people do something like this, you know, they go to save a shot and they like boost into the ground and they land awkwardly, maybe they land upside down or land sideways or something like that. Maybe they're successful in defending the shot and maybe they're not. But either way, if the landing is awkward, your rotation back to the game is just going to be slower and delayed. And that can be the difference between you staying in the game and you being out of it and the other team scoring. So you want to be doing something like this, where you jump off the wall and land on your wheels. And here's an example of jumping from above the goal. I'm just going to show you what that might look like if someone's shooting towards your goal, for example. I'm just going to roll the ball towards the goal, try to save it without jumping, how a lower rank person might try and save it. You can see I was unsuccessful and lost control of the car. Now here's an example with me jumping off the wall this time. As you can see, I'm a little bit more prepared here, which might seem a little bit unfair compared to the last replay, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So again, just rolling it towards the goal. Jump off, make a save. And that's what you want to be doing instead of just boosting off the wall and trying to boost into the ball. Or even just when you're coming off the wall in general. If you find yourself on the wall, a lot of the time it's just a much smoother transition to just jump off instead of driving off. Here's an example of jumping from above the goal. You can see I did a wave dash there as well when I saved it. I'll discuss wave dashing later on in the video, but I won't go into too much detail. So this is another example of where it's appropriate to jump off the wall. You might find it better. So let's say you whiff, you missed the ball, you land here. It's quicker to just jump off and flip towards the ball, especially if someone from the other team is approaching it and you want to try and make a 50-50 or knock it away so that they can't hit it towards your goal. This is another example of a time when you may want to use it. I flip past the ball, control it down to the ground, and then I jump off and I maintain control of the ball. It's much quicker to do that than it is to turn around and drive off the wall. This is something that will definitely require some practice, though. You're not going to find yourself really good at it at the start. This is the same topic of jumping off the wall, but this time when the ball's not involved. So after you've hit the ball away or something, you're on the wall. A quicker way of getting off the wall, get back into the play where the ball is, maybe it's in the center of the pitch, is to jump off the wall instead of driving down it, especially the higher up you are as well. You can also do a wave dash when you land on the ground for another boost of speed. This is pretty much the only time I actually use a wave dash in game. This is an example of a wave dash with the ball. So you can see here I wave dash off the wall, maintain control by catching the ball, and that might catch someone off guard because they're not expecting you to get to the ball that quickly. I'm just going to explain how a wave dash works here quickly. So this is a wave dash forward. There's a wave dash left. There's a wave dash right. What you're doing is you're performing a normal left or right flip, but you're doing it so close to the ground that your car hits the ground with all of the wheels and slides. I don't use wave dashes too often other than when I'm jumping off the wall, so I'm not really going to be able to give you many great examples of wave dashing here, but I feel like I should explain it to some degree so you understand what I'm talking about when you jump off the wall and perform a wave dash. You'll notice I tilt the car away from whatever direction I'm going to be wave dashing in. So if I'm wave dashing forwards, I'll be tilting the car backwards. If I'm wave dashing left, I'll be tilting the car to the right. This is so that when you perform the flip, your car is going to be moving in the direction of the flip and you want all 4 wheels to hit the ground at roughly the same time. The next mechanic, and I think it's one of the more important ones, is the half flip. If you ever find yourself facing away from the ball and you want to get back to it as quick as you can, you want to perform a half flip, which looks like this. So you can see I'm facing away, but I do a half flip and I end up facing towards the ball. That is the fastest way that you can get back to the ball. The other alternatives, if you're a lower level, maybe you'll try and do a 180. It's just not as quick. Maybe you'll just do repeat backflips until you reach the ball. Or even just backflip directly into the ball. There are other faster ways, but none of them are faster than the half flip. And the sooner you start working on this mechanic, the better, I feel like. There'll be plenty of tutorials out there on how to do a half flip, but I'm just going to quickly show you a basic one here, how you do it. So you start with a backflip, simple enough. Then halfway through the backflip, you press upwards on your stick to cancel the flip. So you'll end up upside down like this. In my previous video, you might remember that I told you should be binding a button to air roll left or air roll right. And that looks like this if you just jump and press that button. But if you jump, cancel your flip and then press that button, it looks like this. So instead of landing on your roof when you cancel the flip, your car will spin around and you'll land on the wheels. Then when you start getting better at this mechanic, you can start adding boost in there as well to get to the ball quicker. But I'd learn to do the mechanic first before you start trying to add boost in as well. You don't want to overwhelm yourself before you're used to it. It is possible to do this mechanic without using a button bound to air roll, which I used to do, but I found it much smoother to just use the air roll button. You can see I'm quite easily able to move fluidly with the ball. Even when doing a 180 drift to face the other way and then performing an air roll, you can see I don't lose much speed. Right, the next thing is you're going to want some level of aerial control. This should just come in time with practice. It doesn't have to be super advanced, but there are some things that you can start working on straight away. The main thing is landing on your wheels. After you perform an aerial, you want to be able to land smoothly and then return back to the game as quickly as you can or stay in the game. And that's just not going to happen if you're landing on your roof or on your side. You know, if you're landing awkwardly, it's going to take you out of the game for at least a couple of seconds or so probably. So you want to be practicing landing on your wheels whenever you're doing aerials. You can just go into free play and just mess about in the air doing some spins and flips, things like that, and see what it feels like to maneuver the car in the air. Another good option is training packs. Now if you go to training and custom, there are custom training packs, and if you press right bumper or R1, this one is the first option at the top of the list, called wall to air dribble. This one's good just so you get a feel for what it's like to be performing aerials from off the wall, and you can just repeatedly do it over and over again with the same setup so you don't have to keep setting it up yourself in free play. In the lower ranks it doesn't have to be super technical or advanced. You just want to have an idea for what it's like to be performing aerials, and you're not going to be doing those as much in games as you will be in training, so this is a really good option. There might be other training packs as well out there that you just prefer doing. I'd recommend that you go and take a look through the list, just try a bunch of them out and see which ones work for you. Another good option is the aerial training that just comes built into the game. These are quite basic, but if you're just starting out, these are going to be really good for you. Maybe start first of all just doing straightforward aerials. You're probably going to be wanting to feather your boost instead of just holding the boost down the whole time and full on boosting into the ball. And then when you start getting a bit more comfortable with it, maybe you could try adding a spin in the air as well. And once you start getting a bit better at that, maybe you can start adding more spins, seeing if you can just hit the ball at first, And then once you start getting used to hitting the ball, you want to be working on your accuracy. Last thing I want to talk to you about is practicing hitting the ball on target. If you can get an accurate hit on goal, especially in the lower ranks, it's really going to be throwing the other team off. Because at the lower ranks, a lot of the time, people are struggling even to just hit the ball, let alone hit it on target. I've seen replays in bronze where someone will hit the ball at the goal, and every player in the game tries to hit the ball and they all miss, and it rolls in really slowly. So being able to hit the ball on target will give you a huge advantage over the other team. Also, I don't feel like you always have to flip into the ball. A good way to add power to the ball without using the flip and to get a small amount of height on it is to drive into it and just before you hit it, press and jump. I've caught so many people out doing this off kickoff. Maybe they're slow at boosting at the start, or maybe they don't move for half a second or something like that. And that can be all the time that I need to boost towards the ball, and then just before I hit it, press and jump, and it goes over the other player and goes straight into the goal. That's it for this video, guys. There will be a part 3 coming out, which is going to be covering game sense. I'm quite a new channel, so I'm trying to build a following. So if you could leave a like and a subscribe, that would really help me out. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.